Dairying is something I always wanted to do. Since I came home farming from Ag College, I was always in beef, and I always enjoyed it and made a few pounds at it. But I always had this romantic thing in my head of going out, getting the cows and bringing them in, milking them on a conventional milking parlour. For the last 5 years about, I've been weighing up a lot of the options. And with the quota going and less money out of beef and a lot of hard work, I decided it was time to jump ship and become a dairy farmer. I built up my beef herd so that I was in a stronger position for getting loans, and then when the time came, it was still going to be a conventional milking parlour, the robot. I always saw it as too expensive and that I was mad in the head to be even thinking about it. But I found out that when I did all the pricing, if I got a milking parlour that would give me the information that I'm getting off the robots, there wasn't much in the difference.
The costs of the robots are generally an awful lot less than what people think once they look into it. The top specification robot costs about €45 per day on 10-year hire purchase. But for that, you're getting your cows milked 2 to 3 times per day. You have an automatic feed to yield system, so you're targeting the feed to the ladies that need it most. You have automatic heat detection, so it'll tell you when a cow is in heat, and it'll tell you the best time of day to serve her, so huge benefits for farmer in heat detection and monitoring and managing the fertility of his herd. You also have full milk recording, so for every cow, every milking, you will have an indication of her butterfat, her milk protein, her milk lactose, and also her somatic cell count, which is tremendously useful information for all farmers these days.
Going with robots over the conventional was a smaller, cheaper build. For the conventional milking parlour, I'd have to build a collecting yard and another tank, wider roads, more fencing, more troughs, 3 times more on the wiring expenses.
The beauty of a robot is to take up very little room. There's very little building involved. The machine itself is just over 3 metres long. So the whole system comes on a number of pallets. It's bolted to the ground, and part of the farmer's job is to arrange water, electricity and feed, and the Lely Centre connects the whole system.
What I spend on the robot, I saved on the shed. One of the reasons I chose robot was from going to open days and watching videos and things, I always knew the land was laid out well for the A-B system.
The way you'd organise your farm for grazing with milking robots is you divide your grazing block into 2 sections, typically called A and B. So you will be farming 2 grazing blocks every day. So for 12 hours, cows are in paddock A, and at any point during that 12-hour period, they can walk out of the open paddock, down a cow track or the farm lane, into the shed to be milked by the robot. When they are milked, they are going to a system that either sends them back to where they came from or to fresh grass. They are not allocated fresh grass after every milking. That's based on time. So every 12 hours, the system diverts the cows to fresh grass. So over the course of 24 hours, cows have grazed out 2 blocks.
Another big reason I went for the robot was I have very hilly land, and if you had 120 cows in a paddock, in evening time or morning time when it come to milking, the whole herd would be waiting at the gap in one bunch, and on a wet night they'd come running down the hill and plough the land. And with the robots, they come one at a time at their leisure, nobody rushing them and no poaching.
The robot process, well, if you were to start at the starting point with the cow in the field, a major difference would be that the paddock is always open. So a cow can leave the paddock at any time and walk into the yard to the robot to be milked. There's a collar around her neck that's used for identification. So if the robot is empty, she can enter the robot. The collar around her neck identifies that she's due to be milked, allowing the robot to dispense her whatever amount of concentrate she is due, depending on her yield. The arm then swings under the cow. The brushes then brush the teats. Once the teats are thoroughly brushed, then the cups attach to the teats. A big differentiator with the way the robot milks a cow is every quarter is milked individually. So what you will notice is as the quarter is empty, the cup is taken off. So one of the reasons farmers with robots have a lot lower incidence of mastitis and a lot lower somatic cell counts than traditional systems is because there's no over milking and there's no under milking. Once the last cup comes off, when the cow is properly milked, then the teats are accurately sprayed. All the information on the cow health is downloaded from her collar. Then the front of the robot opens and the cow is allowed out the yard and then with access back to grazing.
When I come over in the mornings, the first thing I do is go to the robot and look at the collect cow list. It'll tell you any cow that's gone over 8 hours since she was milked, and then I look at the other health to tell you anything that was wrong during the night, any cow that's any problems. If that's okay, just clean the laser, change the milk socks, wash around it. Then I walk out through the cows to the field, change the fence. From the day before, open a new gate, close the old gate, then go over to where the cows are from the night before, check them, then back down to the robot again and then feed the calves. The main difference between the beef and dairy, I thought, was economy to scale, where the more suckler cows you had or the bigger you got in beef, not necessarily the more profit you made. The more you had, the more work there was, the more losses you had, the harder it was to do everything. And with dairying, the more you had, the more you make per head. When I got the robots, everyone was saying that I'd have nothing for doing. But one of the things with the robot is it frees up your time to do everything else right. And you have more time for grassland management and for cow health. The main thing is that the cow's sick or something in the suckler system, you had to gather a posse to get her in. And in this system, if they're in the shed, you just put them into the pen and treat them. If they're out the field, you just go into the computer, press a few buttons, and she'll be in the drafting pen when you come back.
The type of people buying robots, it would be hard just to say it's one particular type, but I suppose you could class into 2 categories. Some people buy robots purely to look after the cows better. So they'll be looking for more production, but they also want to look after the cow in such a way that she's healthier and lasts longer in the herd. But admittedly, there's also people who buy it as a way of bringing extra labour on the farm. They mightn't necessarily want to employ people. They may find it difficult to keep on top of the workload on the farm. So it's freeing them up a lot more time, and it's also giving them a lot more flexibility.
The reason I chose robots over the conventional milking parlour was mainly to give me some flexibility. The work is a lot easier with the dairying than with the sucklers. I suppose I'm at that stage in my life where I have a young family, 6 young kids. They're all involved in sport. Most of their matches are in the evening time, just when you'll be milking. So putting the robots in place will allow me to spend more time with the kids, and that's the most important thing to me.